Oh my God, here we go again. Men talking about stuff that's gonna help them be free. This is an Infinium podcast, which is entitled Resistance is Not Futile. Oh my God, what is that supposed to mean? Oh my God, I just wish I could get these men to just shut up.
My brothers, welcome to the 4th edition of the Infinium podcast. And as always, my brothers, thank you so much for your support of my work as a fellow MGTOW and as one who, like you, is embracing a philosophy which saves all of our lives in every way possible. Now, I am suffering from a bit of sinusitis, so please forgive the rough voice. But nevertheless, my brothers, we're going to keeping on, so to speak, in terms of what's going on. Now, I want to talk to you about resistance is not futile. And of course, on a basic level, my brothers, you may understand what I mean in terms of resistance is not futile. At a basic level, yes, it is not futile to resist the thinking, the forethought, the mindset, particularly coming from the Finnish plantation state, that we as MGTOW men who seek our freedom, that we have no right to seek our freedom. We have no right to be free as slaves. Of course, we know that the resistance to that notion, that despicable, if you would say, notion that we as free men, we cannot be free and we have no right to be free, that resisting that is not a futile type of thing. But yet, my brothers, because of conditions, because of things that we are enduring and the types of things that are happening in terms of our society right now, the type of sense that maybe it is the type of thing that we MGTOW men should not push as hard to seek our freedom. And of course, I'm talking about the recent changes that came about because of the presidential election, the types of things that came out of the Finnish plantation state, the type of feeling right now that because of the changes that are going to occur in 2025 and going forward from that point, that it is not so much important right now to push and to keep going, keep holding the line in terms of our embracement of the MGTOW philosophy. That is AKA becoming apathetic about our walk along the MGTOW path. And my brothers, I think that we all, because of what we are seeing, what we are going through, are having a sense of, is it worth it? Is it really, really worth it? And of course, in the deepest parts of our hearts and the deepest parts of what we know is right, yes, we feel that it is worth it. It is well worth it. But yet again, we're faced with the types of changing, the types of shifting that is going on. And it is obvious that there is a great shifting that is going on around us. We can see these things. We can see the things that are happening in our society. But there again, is it worth it to become apathetic about the philosophy which saves our lives? Is it worth it to kind of consider going back? Those things have kind of popped up in our minds because of, again, the things that we're seeing. And my brothers, again, we must all understand that even though this shifting is happening, even though the times are quote unquote changing, even though these things are happening, that it is worth it, it is well worth it to resist not only the notion that we have to be slaves as men, but also the apathy, also the sense of futility that is it worth it right now to be a MGTOW, or is it worth it to turn around and go back to maybe reasoning with women, maybe trying to integrate ourselves into a society that really hates us and still hates us no matter what changes that are going on. That's what this is about, my brothers, that it is not futile to resist the apathy, to resist the types of things that you're facing, that you are thinking about, the questions that are coming up in your mind, because this one has been elected as president. This will change. This will get better. And my brothers, all of those things are in our minds. I know it has been in my mind. But my brothers, nevertheless, and I'm speaking to myself as well, and I know I'm speaking to your hearts as well, as fellow MGTOW men, that it is well worth it, and that we must resist these things. We must resist the apathy, the futility, the types of things that are coming upon us because of what's going on. My brothers, when these types of times come upon you, when you feel apathetic about your walk along the MGTOW path, when the futility kind of creeps up in your spirit and in your hearts, one thing that you must do, we must do, I must do as MGTOW men is to look at what the MGTOW philosophy has afforded you in terms of a free man. Now, if you look at what the MGTOW philosophy has afforded you, you will find almost immediately that you are not the same man that you were before you embraced the philosophy, before you began walking along the pathway of freedom, along the pathway that saves your life in every way possible. And the one thing that you now understand is that when you look at things in the light of who you are, at the standpoint of who you are as a free man, you will find that indeed embracement of the MGTOW philosophy has saved your life. It has caused you to become a different man than what you once were. And when you look at what has been done, you look at the progress that you've made as a free man. You begin to understand that you are doing something incomprehensible to any man who is a simp, a cuck, whatever, that they cannot understand. You are walking in a pathway of freedom. You're resisting a system of slavery, a system which would enslave you, which would literally destroy your life, regardless of what administration is in power. If it is a Democrat administration or Republican administration, the feminist plantation state exists nevertheless, my brothers. And again, you are resisting a state, a type of thinking that would enslave you and that would destroy your life in every way possible. Again, no matter what type of political party is in power at this time, my brothers. My brothers, again, when you look back at what the MGTOW philosophy has done for you, has caused you to become, my brothers, you will see that again, it is well worth it, my brothers, to be a MGTOW. And now when you begin to look forward at the pathway that you are on, the pathway again, which is saving your life in every way possible, you'll find that the doors that have been closed because of these things open up new doors to you. For instance, if you were simping, you would never be able to go travel freely as a free man. And I know for myself, if I was simping, I would not be doing what I'm doing right now. I would not be exploring how to do audio, how to do video, how to be a ham radio operator. I would not have those opportunities because of the simping and because of what the simping would do. The simping would absorb my time as a man. And now, because of the doors that have been closed to simping, I have the time to do what I want to do and what I need to do, rather than to fulfill something which is antecedent to my freedom and antecedent to who I now know I should be as a free man. I am not a slave. I am not a go-to to be a scapegoat or a black sheep, all which is encompassing slavery, being persecuted, being put down, being told that I have no value, all those types of things. So that's one of the aspects of what you, I, we as MGTOW men need to do when we begin to feel a sense of apathy, when we begin to sense futility in what we're doing, the pathway that we're taking, is to look back at what has been accomplished. Are you the same man as you were before you embraced the MGTOW philosophy? If you look back upon yourself, look back at the point of your embracement of the philosophy, going forward from that point, you will find that you're a drastically different man. And you're so drastically different that it is antecedent to you, to your way of life, to your freedom, to become a slave again, to go back, no matter what condition may arise that gives you a sense of apathy, a sense of futility. Nevertheless, the looking back at the progress that you made, looking forward to the potential that you can make as a free man, that needs to be done in all of our lives to keep us on track. Because again, when you look forward to the future of who you are as a MGTOW man, you will see the potential which is available to you as a MGTOW man that was not available to you when you were not a MGTOW man. You can go anywhere that you need to go in freedom. You can enjoy a hobby in freedom. You can build a business in freedom. You can enjoy a cup of coffee in freedom and in peace. All these things are available to you. They may seem like simple things. They may seem like innocuous types of things. But my brothers, again, look at the ones that are around you, the simps that are around you. Are they really free? Can they really enjoy a cup of coffee in peace? Something as simple as a cup of coffee in peace, my brothers, can be something of great importance. Again, it is everything and anything that has potential, great potential, if you continue along this pathway that saves your life in every way possible, my brothers. So again, it is progress and potential. The other aspect of it is you're not entangled in the things that simps are entangled in. You're not dealing with those things, my brothers. What you're doing, again, is walking along a pathway of freedom. You're doing what you want to do and what you need to do, rather than to fulfill something that is a want or need of a woman, for example. Again, you're doing what you want to do. You're doing what you need to do. And so where did that come from? Did it not come from being able to realize and recognize as you became a MGTOW, as you had your eyes open to what the MGTOW philosophy is and what it can do for you? Did it not come from the understanding that you are not supposed to be a slave? You were never designed to be a slave? Also consider that once your eyes are open to your value as a man, your true value as a man, there therefore comes the potential of who you can be as a man. All of those things are there, my brothers. So again, when we face times of apathy, times of futility, look at what has happened. Are you the same man that you were before you were MGTOW? And my brothers, you would see that no, you are not the same man. You're vastly different from who you were before you became a MGTOW. And of course, we all know that as MGTOW men, being a MGTOW is not a matter of just saying we are MGTOW. It is the walk, it is the doing what we need to do as MGTOW men. Now, my brothers, when it comes to doing what we need to do as MGTOW men, the type of walk that we're on is a pathway of discovery, my brothers. And you have to look at things this way, my brothers. You are on this pathway and you encounter a precious stone, and you find that that stone is not an obstacle to your walk, but it is a component of your life that you never knew existed before you became a MGTOW. And you look down at that stone and you begin to look in wonder of, why did I never see this? How can this be? I never thought I had this type of potential. That's what that stone represents. But then you take your eyes off of that stone and you gaze up at a mountain and you realize that that stone is a part of that mountain. And you realize, just like with the stone, the mountain belongs to you. So the stone, that precious stone, belongs to you, and that mountain belongs to you. And you begin to realize that the mountain is not an obstacle, but it is yours, my brothers. It is not there to be an obstacle to you. It is there to show you who you are, who you truly are as a man. And it becomes then your responsibility to explore that mountain, to climb it, to mine down into it, to discover the things that are in that mountain. And so some of the things are, for instance, discovering the gold, the veins of gold, the veins of silver, the precious diamonds, the minerals, all these things. And all of the aforementioned, my brothers, represent components of your life, components of who you are as a man that are waiting to be climbed upon, are waiting to be mined into, are waiting to be discovered, revelations about yourself that you never thought possible, understanding about yourself that you never thought possible, correction of issues in your life. You'll discover that, for instance, that the veins of gold are actually wisdom that you develop as a MGTOW man. The silver is walking in integrity. The various minerals and diamonds, jewels, are capabilities that you never thought possible, or dormant capabilities that you long forgot about when you were simping and that were stolen from you because you were simping, because you were forced to do things as a slave instead of as a free man. That mountain, again, is yours, my brothers, and it is your responsibility as a man to take possession of that mountain in every way possible and to become what that mountain has for you. It is, yes, you are a free man, and the foundation of that mountain is your freedom, and the pinnacle of that mountain is who you are as a free man, your makeup, everything about you, my brothers. That is what is happening, my brothers. And my brothers, what that is doing, in essence, is building up your validation as a man of who you are as a man. It is building up not only validation, it is building up your substance as a man, of what you need to be as a man, what you are supposed to be, what you are truly supposed to be as a man. That's what that mountain represents, my brothers. That's what your responsibility is in terms of taking possession of that mountain. Because again, that's who you truly are. That's who you are, not what a feminist says that you are, not what the feminist plantation state says that you are. That's what it is about, my brothers. And my brothers, contrast that with what is happening with women. Now, I mentioned again, the mountain represents your building of validation of yourself. So that means that you do not have to go to a woman and seek her for your validation. You have the responsibility of validating yourself by, again, exploring who you are as a man, correcting the things that are wrong in your life, building upon talents, exploring talents that are dormant, all these types of things. Even, my brothers, just learning how to cook for yourself, my brothers. Again, you have that responsibility to do those things. And see, when you do those things for yourself, my brothers, it negates the need for validation coming from women. Now, if you contrast it with women, you will find that many, many women have to have men in their lives in some form or fashion to validate themselves. Now, at the time of this recording, my brothers, you have the example of Crystal Magnum, who was in jail, I believe, because she deleted her boyfriend or the dude that was in relationship with her. She's the same woman that accused the 3 Duke lacrosse players of sexual assault, causing them to go through all types of turmoil, all types of things. She falsely accused them of sexual assault. And now, as she is sitting in prison, she has come out and said that her allegations were false. And she did these things because she wanted validation as a woman. That's what happened, my brothers. And see, Crystal Magnum is the norm in terms of women. She is not the exception, because we find that all around us, my brothers, where women are doing these things, falsely accusing men of all types of crimes, things that are being done against them solely because they need validation. And so that should beg the question, my brothers, if we MGTOW men can find validation within ourselves by taking possession of the mountain within our lives and building validation within ourselves rather than to go out and need the validation of another person, why cannot women, particularly because of the feminist plantation state, particularly because of feminism, why cannot women find validation within themselves? Why do they need to accuse men in general, and say that men are useless, and say that they can exist without men? But yet you find this dichotomy that they need us in every way possible. And part of the reason why they need us is because they need our validation. They need us to give them attention. They need us to fall down on our knees and suck up to whatever they give us, the types of bad behavior. Why is that so? When the ideology of feminism preaches the type of strength, the beauty, the independence, all these things that the feminist plantation state pushes forward, that men are dumb, men are useless without women. Why is the opposite of that true? That men do not need women, and men can exist without women. And that in particular, we MGTOW men can exist in a level of freedom that is incomprehensible to women. Why is that so, my brothers? Again, it is so because the ideology of feminism does not build substance. It does not build content of character. It does not validate, my brothers. That's what's wrong. And see, that's what women are facing right now. For the most part, many women cannot validate themselves internally like we MGTOW men can. That's why, again, you find the types of things that are going on and will continue to go on into the future, no matter who is in office right now, who has control of the Congress or the Senate, who is president, Democrat or Republican. The fact remains, my brothers, feminism is there, and the incapability of the ideology of feminism being able to validate the women who embrace that ideology, necessitating the need for women to blame we men for everything possible that goes wrong in this society. My brothers, validation builds character, it builds integrity, it builds all types of things. It builds taking accountability for actions. Those are the things that the ideology of feminism does not provide in any way possible. And my brothers, once you see this, and once you understand this, you will see that the need for women to validate themselves on the backs of we men comes from a point of jealousy. It comes from the understanding that they cannot do what we men can do. I always used to wonder why, in particular, if I told a woman that I can cook, I can make a full meal, I can do things like make a full Thanksgiving meal, that they would flip out and they would become very angry. But again, my brothers, that is because the women that are getting angry at a man who says that he can cook are angry because they need that man to be able to be subject to her so that she can validate herself through him. So again, it shows where we MGTOW men must maintain our walk towards freedom. Because again, the walk that we're on It validates us. It builds content of character, my brothers. It causes us to grow and to become what we were designed to be, my brothers. That's why, again, we must not be apathetic about our walk. And I'm talking to myself as well, my brothers. We must not be apathetic. We must not get into a sense of futility about our walk. That's a major reason why. Because again, the need for women to validate themselves through we men is not going to go away. And I would submit to you, my brothers, it's probably going to get worse in every way possible because of what is going on, because of the crumbling of the feminine experimentation state, because of the types of things that are going on, that there's going to be pushback coming from the feminine experimentation state to try to save itself, to try to keep the crumbling from happening, my brothers. So again, that is why we must continue. Because again, things are likely to get worse rather than better as time goes along. And of course, because of the feminine experimentation state being there, being in existence, even still, the finger of blame of what is wrong, because of the lack of accountability that exists within the feminine experimentation state, the finger of blame will be pointed towards we MGTOW men. So again, that is another reason why we must continue and we must resist and go forward as MGTOW men. Now, the other aspect of resistance is not futile, my brothers, is this. We all are encountering those men who may not really receive what we have to say as MGTOW men. And that is the good news, per se, that yes, you can live your life as a free man. Yes, there's a possibility that you can walk away from slavery. But nevertheless, we encounter things that are going on and the continuation of men simping. And there comes, because of that, a sense of futility, a sense of apathy of, is it really worth it? Is it really worth it to speak my mind or to have a channel or to do any type of content or to just have a conversation with a man, another man who is not a MGTOW? We all go through that, my brothers. But nevertheless, again, do not let that put you into a state of apathy, of futility. Resist it, my brothers. Because there's this, and you have to look at things like this, my brothers. You, I, we as MGTOW men, we carry the antivirus, which is known as freedom. And this antivirus, although it does not seem to be effective on many simps, let's say you talk to 1,000 simps, and there is only one simp that your antivirus of freedom, and that is maybe a bit of content you did, or maybe a conversation you had with this simp, that antivirus takes hold in his heart, and it begins to spark a revolution in his heart in terms of overturning his need to be a simp, his need to be a slave. And that one man begins to go forward into maybe politics or builds a business, and he begins to use the understanding that you gave to him that he can be a free man. And he moves on to do great things, not in a grifting way, but in a way that causes men to be free, that causes laws to be changed, that does these types of things. Is it not worth it, my brothers? Is it not worth it that maybe that one man, and we don't know these things, we truly don't know how much of an effect that our content, our conversations, all these things. And I'm not saying to go out there and be unwise and make yourself look stupid or anything like that. I'm saying to use wisdom in how you talk to men and how you deal with them, and use your sensibilities as a MGTOW man, because you will build up a type of sense when you talk to men, whether or not they'll be receptive to what you have to say. And you'll know when to walk away when they give you that side eye and when they kind of just say, oh man, just shut up and get away from me. You'll get that sense as you build yourself up as a MGTOW man. But again, you never know, my brothers. And that sense of not really knowing what will happen down the future with that man. You don't know if that antivirus will take hold in his life and cause him to walk in freedom, my brothers. And the only thing you can do, again, is to speak your peace if he will allow it. And if he does not allow it, then you continue along your walk towards freedom. And to not take that as a sense of failure, to not look at that as failure, because again, you don't know how your life as a MGTOW man is affecting men. Again, you don't know how long that antivirus of freedom may lay dormant in that man's heart, and a simple condition will trigger that antivirus and kick it into action, causing that man to embrace his freedom. I know for me, as a MGTOW man, it was a simple act of defiance from a woman, a simple act of rejecting my dignity as a man that triggered my walk towards freedom, that triggered my understanding that I did not have to be a slave, and I could live in freedom, and I could live without the validation of a woman in my life as a free man. That simple act was a woman's refusal to help me put my overcoat on a cold, snowy night after I had risked my life driving across town to pick her up from work because of her demands and her wants and needs. It was that simple act of you could not reciprocate and saying thank you for what you did for me by helping me put my coat on. But yet she responded with, I don't help men put their coats on. You're not a boy. You're a man. You put your own coat on. But yet she could not do that thing for me. It was a simple act like that, my brothers, which triggered and sparked my walk towards freedom and my understanding that I did not have to be a slave. So that can happen, my brothers. You can have one man out of 1,000 who you implanted that antivirus of freedom. And it may not take a hold immediately, but my brothers, a simple condition could occur in that man's life where that antivirus of freedom takes a hold and sparks a revolution in his life where he now understands that he does not have to be a slave. And my brothers, look at it from that standpoint. Even though it is just one man out of 1,000, it's still well worth it. And your effort in spreading that antivirus of freedom, even though it worked in just one man, it is still well worth it. And so you should not look at what you're doing as being in futility, but look at it in the worth of that one man's life. Look at it in that manner, my brothers. Don't become apathetic because men will not hear you, or very few men will hear you. Look at it in the manner, if it is just one man that becomes free from the feminist plantation state, from the ideology of feminism, from being a simp, and he becomes a man who discovers his value, his worth, his validation as a free man, it is well worth it. And your effort is still well worth it, my brothers. Whatever you're doing, if you're just talking to men casually, or if you're doing what I'm doing, full-blown content production, it is well worth it, my brothers. Because we have to look at it this way. The MGTOW philosophy, as we all know, is a philosophy which saves our lives in every way possible, my brothers. You have to look at it that way, my brothers. And finally, my brothers, we all have faced the criticism, the wearing types of things that have been done to us, in particular by simps, the quote-unquote calling of us out as MGTOW men, as the ones who are quote-unquote the chumps, the ones who are the losers. I would say to you, my brothers, again, resist those things. Because, my brothers, those simps who are doing those things are finding out the hard way that the ones that they are persecuting, the ones that they are doing the things to in terms of we free MGTOW men, those men that are doing those things are becoming losers at the end of the day. And I can say for myself personally, I have seen this thing happen in my life where these men are now in a sorry state. They are in the state of being kicked to the curb by the women who they sent for, who they, quote unquote, did the right things in terms of simping. They are now in a state where they are finding out the hard way that it is best not to simp. My brothers, again, resist these things. Resist the apathy. Resist the notion of futility. You have a wonderful life ahead of you as a free man. And do not let anything take that away from you. Do not let any type of sense that women are now taking accountability for their actions and I should give up my walk along the MGTOW pathway because of that. Because look at it like this, my brothers. Women, for the most part, are not taking accountability for their actions. And what is happening right now, my brothers, is this. Women are realizing that men do not need them. And they're doing everything and anything to get men back. If that was not so, why are they going to Home Depot to try to find men? It is becoming widely known now that women are going to grocery stores to try to get men. Why are they doing these things? Why are the singles events, which are full of women but devoid of men, why is that happening? I will say this, my brothers. Women realize that men are not having it in general. And they're realizing, again, our strength as MGTOW men, and that we have that determination to maintain our freedom at all costs. And so that's why, again, you're having the type of situation where women are now saying, okay, you boys, playtime is over. Now come back and do your duty. That in itself is hypocrisy. And it is another furtherance of what feminism now represents, the lack of accountability for their actions. So that means, my brothers, again, women are not repentant for what was done to us. And this is inclusive of all those women who say that they are in their walk because it was glaringly obvious, particularly within the last 4 or 5 years or so. It was glaringly obvious of the prejudice, of the torment, of the persecution of men in this society. And literally nothing was done to stop this stuff, to the degree that it got so out of control that you saw things like Daniel Pearson being thrown into jail for 31 days with $1 million bond on him over false allegation of sexual assault. You saw those things happen. And Daniel Pearson was not the exception. He was the norm, because it is quite easy for a woman to make a false allegation against a man and off to jail he goes, to lie about a man. And it's quite easy for those false allegations to be taken for granted, not be investigated by the police department, which is arresting that man, causing him to lose his job, causing him to be in debt, all these types of things. This all occurred and it got worse within the last 4 or 5 years. And you see now, because of men not having it anymore, because of the MGTOW philosophy, which is quote unquote mainstream, women now saying, okay, playtime is over and you need to come back to us no matter what. You don't see any type of true repentance, any type of true wanting change, like abolishing paternity fraud on a national level, making it a felony, for instance. You don't see that. You see pushback, in fact, against those types of things. My brothers, again, look at these things. Look at what is happening. Look at what is being done. Because, again, that is hypocrisy. It is not true repentance. Throwing a bone at we men and saying, okay, playtime is over, is unacceptable, my brothers. This is because our lives have substance. Our lives have value, my brothers. And it is all women who are complicit with the devaluing of who we are as men and who are now saying that playtime is over. You need to come back and do your duty. My brothers, again, that is nothing but despicable hypocrisy. And all the more reason why you must resist. You must resist the notion of futility about who you are as a MGTOW man. You must resist the apathy because, again, you have value, you have worth, and you have every right to be free as a man. Now, my brothers, with that, I will end this podcast, but I will again say to you, my brothers, it is well worth it. And to resist in every way possible, because you have the right to be free and to live free as MGTOW men. This is the MGTOW Infinium, and this has been an Infinium podcast. My MGTOW brothers, always remember that you have the right to be free in every way possible because you are free men.